Hi, I am Cindy Conitz. I live in Baltimore primarily, but I also live in New York City. I go back and forth. I won the category of photography and digital art for the VAO. Extremely proud of that. It was really fun. My work I consider lens-based because it begins with photography, but I rarely feel that I'm shooting straight photography. I'm looking for old media. In this case, for the project that I submitted to VAO, I was working with an obsolete instant camera. I'm really interested in exploring technology, all technologies, and I'm also interested in concept as it applies to technology. I'm interested in thinking about how technology affects our lives, and that rarely leads me to straight photography. I can always trace my work back to a camera in some way.
Why is it important to apply for art prizes?
Yeah, so I think it's extremely important because while, making art is totally mentally, emotionally, even physically engaging and immersive, and you get lost in it. And in today's world with social media chatter, you will never get seen unless you promote yourself. And so promoting yourself, which I don't really like doing, so I think about this a lot, is as important as making great work. And the best way, of course, to do that is to apply to prizes and shows, exhibitions. Yeah, you need to keep your name and your work out there consistently.
What are your top 3 tips for artists applying to art prizes?
So of course, in the back of all decisions that we make as artists is, time and budget. And I find, the best way to address both of those concerns is to limit your choices on applications. First of all, the obvious, to calls, open calls that really are consistent with the work you're making, with the concepts you're interested in. I mean, you can stretch them. I find that interesting too, because I think curators are interested in seeing things that they didn't think of in the area that they're focused on. So that's really, really important. I also think equally important is to think about your career goals and think about who you want to know your work and to have seen it. Really specific people in specific areas, specific museums you might be interested in, specific publications you want to be in, or just people kind of in the know. You want them to know who you are and to be looking out for new work that you're making. Yeah, yeah. Well, you have to think of time. I'm sorry, I forgot to focus on
That's
that
okay.
because it takes a lot of time to prepare entries. I always find it takes me more time than I expected. And yeah, that's also a consideration when you're making submissions. What you're taking time away from your work. Be aware, like, it's not always so great to have a long resume. It doesn't mean as much if the people on that resume aren't important to you. And what were you doing all that time? You weren't creating work.
Could you tell us a little about your experience applying to the VAO and winning the photography award and the digital art?
First of all, the application was very clear. I could understand it clearly. You'd be surprised. That's always really important. The prize for the VAO is amazing. The free workshops, I think that is something I haven't seen anywhere else, and it's mind-blowing for many reasons. First of all, education is just the best. I mean, you always want to be finding out, like, even if it's something you feel you have some experience with social media or, I mean, anything, you want to hear what other people are thinking, what they're doing. And it's kind of like, it becomes community in a way. And that's also what's unique to VAO, I think. As soon as you get on a workshop, everyone's automatically putting their contacts into chat. That's unusual. I mean, no one even asks, and everyone's in it, and people contact, people really, start following each other, and it creates community. It's incredibly friendly. That's also very, very, very unique. Usually a prize is the end of the story, and yeah, that's VAO. It just seems like it's more than a prize. And again, it's about community. It's about the artists. It's not about the show.
Final question is, what is next for you?
What's next?
Yes.
More of all the above. Right now, I'm really focusing hard on promotion. But actually, I'm working with an exhibition designer to create a show, to create a really good exhibition proposal for the work that won the prize. And that's a big project. Also, soon we'll be working with a photo editor to select from about 500 images that are in this project to sequence work for a book. And at the same time, I'm shooting for 2 other projects at the same time, which has never really happened that way. But when it comes, you have to do it. And so, yeah, I happen to be really, really busy right now. But what's interesting is that moving on is always about learning. I mean, it's always about learning something new. So I really feel that I'm spending all the time. I'm learning something new, especially with digital art. Um, you know, that's the definition of it. And so I find it totally challenging and I love it. And that's it. So I look forward to getting lost again in it and not doing so much technical stuff.